Okay, the last tying up. I apologise that there's been so many videos, but we're almost there. So last thing we did was sharpen and was happy with the top one, so I'll just trash the one below. I'm now happy with the overall look of the image, and now I'm going to save it for web. So I believe that you obviously know Save for Web, and I think I may have explained it before, but just to rehash, 51 quality is basically the setting that you would be going for. For a 1360 by 720 image, 500K, anything over 500K, and it needs to be possibly the quality brought down more. For a 1093 by 598 image like this one, anywhere in the 400, somewhere there at the maximum, would be acceptable. Up around 500 would start to be a bit too much. For the 545 by 363 images, 100K would be the upper limit of that image, and for the 360 by 242 or whatever it is, the smaller image, I'm not so worried about those because they start to get smaller, but about 60K would be the limit for those ones. Now you can increase. This one's at 283K. The main areas that you'll see on these big images where compression artifacts will start to appear is in big areas of the same color. When there's a lot of variation in the image, the compression will work quite well. But in smooth areas, you'll start to see compression artifacts. And in this image, I can't really see any compression artifacts, so 51 would be fine. If there were compression artifacts, if I shift and up arrow, I would go up to 61. Even 71, I'd never really go over 71. And you can see that this is at 442 now. But that's unnecessary because it looks perfectly fine at 51. You'll notice a big difference, I may have mentioned this, in between 51 and 50. It's the biggest jump. So if you look at the screen here at 283, you'll see going down just one down to 50, goes down to 231. So it's a significant jump. If I had to go up from 51 to 61, it's about the same amount of K. So there is a huge difference, and also a huge difference in compression from 50 to 51. And I can start to see image compression starting to happen on the horizon here at 50, and at 51 it is much less noticeable. So 51 is the right compression for this image. So I'm going to go ahead now and save that, and now that is going to go into the final folder for Lamington National Park. Now, naming conventions. So the way that SEO works, it starts from the most obvious detail and then all the way out to the most obscure details. So for instance, this one, I actually need to do research on what this lookout is, but let's say it was red lookout, or so it's not even red, so we've got a green lookout, fictitious name, green lookout. It might be Lamington. Now I wouldn't put in National Park. Lamington, what state is this? Queensland. Lamington, Queensland. Try and keep them short, but keep them key search terms. also so that Google can identify what the image is. That we're going to get a chance to do that in the keywording as well. So starting off at where the actual place is, and then moving out to the place that we've got it in. So whether it be Kakadu or Coffs Harbour, whatever, and then the state followed by an underscore and then the size. So in this instance, it's 1093 by 598, and that's the image. Yeah, I'm just trying to think. Are there any other? That's pretty much it. You can sometimes, if this text was quite short, like if it was just I don't know, you could have walkers, or I should say something fishing green lookout, like if there was someone fishing there, or hang glider in this hang glider, but essentially I want this to be quite short, so that's probably fine. So I'll go ahead and save that. And once that is saved, it is then time to Control W, which will close the document. And because it is not a JPEG anymore, it has got all of these layers in it, Photoshop will say, well, can't save it as a JPEG. When I click yes, I need to save this as a Photoshop document. So it's brought up the last folder. If you follow the process that I have done up until this point, the folder will naturally be already on post-process, which is great. Just leave the name as it is, and there isn't a Photoshop file. There's a JPEG of this name, but there's not a Photoshop file of this name in the post-process folder, so it's not going to overwrite anything. You don't need to do anything with the ICC profiles or anything like that. Just click save, and then that's done, and that's closed. So that's essentially everything. The next option would be to upload the images into the media library, and subsequently create a page for this entire location. We'll just hold off for now, and we'll get these images sorted. I will follow up with a couple of images to brief in so that you can run through this yourself and come back to me with any questions that you might have. So I'll throw it over to you now. Obviously there's lots to digest. Take your time with it all, and just finally, so you'll be able to see in the Queensland folder that it is syncing. There is a file now. All the files in the post-process is the Photoshop file, the JPEG file, and that file that we did. That shouldn't be there, but we did that one for testing purposes before. So you've got those two images in the post-process folder, and you have in the final folder the image ready to be uploaded, and in the pre-process folder, well, you have a lot of images from the previous export. So I'll leave you with it. Let me know what questions you've got. Thanks a lot, Armin.